Ladies and gentlemen, if you believe silver topping out at $50, you've already lost the game before it started. That figure is a relic of yesterday's story. Today, a new chapter is being written, and I'm here not just to tell you why. I'm here to force you to feel it. They'll tell you silver is just a metal, a commodity, something to be priced, weighed, traded, but what they won't tell you, what they're too scared to admit, is that silver carries the weight of history in its veins. This isn't about ounces. This is about outlook. It's not about supply and demand. It's about belief. See, we live in a world where people have become anesthetized to truth. They sit back, watch headlines scroll by, let narratives dictate their futures. And in the midst of that complacency, silver is screaming, not with the voice of speculation, but with the roar of something inevitable, something primal. You know what it is. It's value. Undeniable, unshakable, unmanipulated value. And let me tell you this. Real value doesn't need a hype man. Real value is silent until the market has no choice but to respect it. That's silver. And the truth is, it's been disrespected long enough. But I don't blame the market. I blame the thinking. I blame the conditioning. I blame the system that told us the only path to wealth is to follow trends, to worship volatility, to chase whatever the media deems hot. That system never wanted you to see the truth, because the truth would set you free, and it would bankrupt their entire narrative. Understand this: silver isn't some sleepy relic of a bygone era. It is the rebellion. It's the protest against inflated currencies, against artificial interest rates, against billion-dollar stimulus packages that dilute your purchasing power with every passing day. And still, people ask, but why silver? Because when everything else is bloated with noise, silver whispers clarity. When your fiat burns, silver endures. When trust is eroded, silver is forged. But this is not just about economics. This is personal. This is visceral. This is about whether or not you will be the person who waited until the price tag gave you permission, or the one who had the courage to act before the herd caught up. You know what separates the average investor from the strategic one. Vision, the ability to see not what is, but what will be. And silver is about what will be. $50 is not the finish line. It's not even the halfway mark. It's the beginning of the end of an era where manipulation can hold back truth. But here's the part no one likes to say. You've been lied to, repeatedly, by economists who shape opinion to maintain control, by analysts who get paid to protect narratives, not disrupt them. They've fed you fear, distracted you with noise. They've taught you to believe in everything but what has intrinsic value. Let me remind you, silver doesn't need your permission to move. It doesn't care about your disbelief. It's not waiting for your endorsement. It is moving, and when it does, the world won't ask if you're ready. It will show you what happens to those who underestimated it. Every time silver approaches $50, the fear creeps in. People remember past resistance levels, past corrections, past crashes. But those fears, they are shadows of old paradigms. This time, the context is different. The players are different. The global system is unraveling at a pace no spreadsheet can keep up with. And silver doesn't care about the ghosts of 1980 or 2011. It cares about what's coming, and what's coming is a reckoning. So ask yourself, not where the price is, but where you are. Are you sitting in comfort, waiting for validation? Or are you standing in conviction, preparing for a future you can feel in your gut? This isn't about making a quick flip. This isn't about timing the market. This is about understanding that sometimes the truth wears gray and shines bright. This is about anchoring yourself to something real, something that lasts, something that cannot be printed out of thin air. When silver moves, it won't tap you on the shoulder. It'll crash through the door and leave behind only two types of people: those who were ready and those who explain why they weren't. So when I say silver won't stop at $50, I'm not making a prediction. I'm issuing a warning, a challenge, a declaration. The only question is, will you have the foresight to stand before the wave, or the regret of being swallowed by it? You were told the market is fair, that it rewards those who work hard, stay patient, follow the data, but that's a lie, a pretty one, wrapped in metrics, sugar, coated with jargon, and packaged neatly by people who have never once lived the consequences of the nonsense they preach. Let me give it to you straight. The system is not broken. It was built this way, designed not to reward truth but to protect control. You think silver couldn't break $50 before because of fundamentals? No, it was because someone, somewhere decided it wasn't time. Every chart you stare at, every analysis you cling to, every cautious expert who tells you to wait for confirmation, they're playing a game, and you're the piece being moved. See, truth has always been uncomfortable. The idea that fiat currency is backed by confidence and not value, uncomfortable. That inflation is theft dressed up in economics, uncomfortable. That your savings are being silently eroded while your attention is being hijacked by digital distractions and political theater, that's more than uncomfortable, that's infuriating. But until you face that truth, until you acknowledge it with open eyes and a clenched jaw, you'll always be a spectator in a game that punishes passivity. Let's talk silver. It's not just a metal, it's a measure of truth. Tangible, real, finite, and yet every time it starts to rise, the invisible hand of regulation pulls it back. Ever wonder why? Ever stop to ask why this one asset, this one inconvenient little truth, seems to have a ceiling? Because silver challenges the lie. It challenges the idea that you can print your way to prosperity. It challenges the myth that gold is the only safe haven. It challenges the illusion that the system is under control. And systems do not like to be challenged. You want the truth. Here it is. Silver has been suppressed, deliberately, strategically, quietly. Paper contracts flood the market. Naked shorts weigh it down. And all the while, physical demand outpaces supply in silence. This is not a coincidence. This is not a fluke. This is orchestration. And still, people say, well, if silver's so valuable, why hasn't it moved? Because you're looking at the wrong thing. You're staring at manipulated prices and calling them reality. You're measuring a volcano's pressure by the calmness of the sky. But beneath the surface, pressure is building. The cracks are forming. And when the eruption comes, it won't ask for permission. This is not theory. This is not conspiracy. This is math. This is structure. This is truth stripped of comfort and delivered raw. You want conviction. Look at history. Every time silver surged, it was in response to chaos, to distrust, to collapse. So what do you think is about to happen now? When nations are defaulting, currencies are crumbling, and central banks are fighting fires with gasoline. You really think silver will sit quietly? No, this time the break is coming, and when it does, $50 will be a memory, not a peak, not a barrier, a memory, one that makes people ashamed they ever doubted its significance. But here's the part that will sting. Most of you won't be ready. Not because you weren't smart, not because you weren't capable, but because you weren't willing to confront the uncomfortable truth. You were too busy looking for signals in comfort, too obsessed with safety, too distracted by the approval of people who are just as lost as you. This journey requires courage, not the kind you tweet about, the kind you act on, the kind that lets you buy when others scoff, the kind that makes you study when the crowd is asleep, the kind that makes you believe not in hype, but in hard evidence, unshakable, immovable, inconvenient truth. The truth is this: silver isn't waiting for the world to catch up. It's preparing to leave it behind. You can play it safe, wait for consensus, ask for reassurance, or you can step into the storm and own the narrative. The difference between those who build wealth and those who admire it from a distance isn't information. It's conviction, uncomfortable, yes, but necessary, absolutely. They call it volatility, I call it testing. The markets don't rise to reward you, they rise to reveal you. Every drop in price, every wave of doubt, every red candle is not a threat, it's an invitation. To see what you're made of, to see who folds and who holds, because the truth is this: the price of silver isn't the only thing under pressure. You are, your thinking, your discipline, your belief. That's what's on trial when silver dips 5% overnight and the media screams collapse. They want you to flinch, they want you to doubt, they want you to sell, but the ones who win, they don't react. They respond with resilience, with persistence, with the kind of mindset that doesn't need validation from CNBC or Wall Street to stand firm on what they already know. Let's get something clear. Silver is not a lottery ticket. It's not for the gambler. It's not for the hype chaser who jumps in at 48 and panics at 44. No, this is for the person who understands that building wealth requires a tolerance for discomfort. That fortune follows the patiently positioned, not the constantly distracted. You want the truth. Most people don't have what it takes. They're chasing overnight returns with a microwave mindset. But silver doesn't move for the impatient. It moves for those who wait long enough to understand the cycles, not just the prices, cycles of manipulation, cycles of fear, cycles of accumulation, and through it all, only a few remain standing because they aren't just holding silver. They're holding conviction. It's not about how excited you are when silver is green. That's easy. Anybody can smile when things are rising, but how do you behave when it drops? That's the test. That's where the gap between tourists and true believers gets exposed. Persistence is not romantic. It's painful. It's lonely. It's getting laughed at when you double down instead of sell. It's watching everyone else chase trends while you wait for what you know is coming. It's holding the line when your emotions beg you to run. And I'll tell you this, silver will reward that patience because the fundamentals are sound. The demand is real. The cracks in the monetary system are not closing. They're widening. And every time the system tries to paper over reality, the value of what's real only grows. But most people won't make it. Not because silver failed them, but because they failed themselves. Because they thought resilience meant just waiting. No, resilience is preparation. It's reading when others are scrolling. It's researching while others are complaining. It's sharpening your mindset so that when the breakout comes, and it will come, you're not surprised. You're ready. Persistence is a decision, daily, in your habits, in your language, in your posture. And if you can't be consistent with your mindset, how do you expect to handle the weight of real success when it lands? That's why this is bigger than metal. It's mental, it's emotional, it's personal. Because if you can endure the waiting, if you can embrace the dips, if you can quiet the panic and silence the noise, then you're not just preparing for a price move, you're preparing to lead. And make no mistake, leadership is what this moment requires. Not echo chambers, not herd behavior, not blind optimism. Leadership. And leadership begins with inner resilience. The kind that isn't shaken by headlines. The kind that knows that value always wins even when it loses first. So here's the question. Are you built for it? Can you persist when others walk away? Can you stay planted when the storm comes? Because when it clears, and it will clear, those still standing won't just profit. They'll own the narrative, and when silver breaks past $50, when it keeps moving in spite of the doubt, it won't be luck. It won't be magic. It'll be the manifestation of those who chose not to fold, those who chose to trust what they studied, those who refused to let the noise drown out the truth. The future belongs to the persistent. Not the perfect, the consistent, not the convenient. So don't flinch, don't fold, don't fear. Stand firm and stay the course. There comes a moment in every cycle, every market, every era, every movement, where hesitation becomes the most expensive decision you'll ever make. This is that moment, this is that line, and on the other side of that line, there's no room for should have, could have, or if only. This is not the time for caution wrapped in logic. This is not the time for polite waiting in the comfort of consensus. This is the time to move, now, not because it's fashionable, not because everyone is talking about it, but because you understand the magnitude of what's happening and what's coming. Silver is not whispering anymore. It's roaring. It's shaking off years of suppression, decades of narrative control, and centuries of being underestimated. And still, some of you are waiting, still watching, still asking for another signal. Let me tell you something that will sting. You don't need more confirmation. You need more courage. The data is there. The monetary system is strained. Inflation is eating your future, while the media serves you distractions. Fiat is failing. Confidence in central banks is at record lows. And yet you sit, passive, patient, powerless. You think the opportunity is coming. It's not. It's here. It's screaming in your face. The question is whether you have the urgency to match the moment. People who miss these moments don't miss them because they didn't know. They miss them because they didn't act. They were too busy analyzing, overthinking, checking charts, refreshing prices, calling friends who know nothing, listening to analysts who benefit from your inaction. They forget one truth: money moves fast, and it waits for no one. When silver breaks through $50, and it won't knock politely, it will explode. It won't give you time to adjust your position. It will demand that you already have one. And at that point, the conversation shifts. It goes from, is it time to enter, to how high will it go? And that conversation is not for you unless you are already in the room. That's why you don't just invest in assets. You invest in timing. You invest in speed. You invest in your ability to make decisions when it counts. The signs are clear. Central banks stacking physical silver. Industry scrambling for future supply. Physical premiums rising. Mining production tightening. ETF shifting weight. There is no more time for theory. This is the execution phase. And those who hesitate now, they'll be spectators tomorrow. The wealth gap isn't just about money. It's about decisiveness. Those who act while others think. Those who prepare while others procrastinate. Those who seize windows while others wait for doors. Right now, you are standing at a window. It's open, but it won't stay that way, and once it shuts, you'll remember this moment not with curiosity, but with regret. This is not hype. This is not a gamble. This is a calculated urgency, a call to those who understand cycles, who recognize signals, who trust fundamentals over noise. And let me be clear, this won't feel comfortable. It's not supposed to. Urgency isn't born in comfort. It's born in conviction. Conviction that says, I will not wait to be convinced by price action. Conviction that says, I don't need the world's approval to move on what I've studied. Conviction that understands being early is lonely, but being late is painful. So here's the ask. Make the decision. Position yourself, not emotionally, not recklessly, but strategically. Stand on what you know and act like you mean it. Stop scrolling. Stop hesitating. Stop negotiating with doubt. Take the step, not next week. Not when the news finally catches up. Now, because when silver moves, it won't come back to check who's ready. It will run, and it will not slow down for second guesses. You know what's coming. You've seen the signs. You've heard the warnings, and if you're still waiting, let this be the final knock. Move, now, before this window becomes someone else's story, and your lesson in hesitation. So here is your moment. Don't applaud lightly and slip away. This is a death ground moment. There is no plan B. You either step in, or someone else will take your place. You step in now, or you end up wondering why silver didn't stop at $50 this time, when it exploded past it.